Hello, hello, hello. Let me see. Is of course every time let's see what's going on here. Yes, hi. I'm on. So you're going to come learn why your course or courses and programs today, the completion rates are so low and what we can do about it. Okay. So courses are huge. It's a huge industry. It just exploded during the pandemic. Everyone was online learning something, taking courses, bettering themselves, saw how easy it was. Obviously, they wanted to fill their time while we were all stuck at home. So the industry of learning and education online has just grown extremely high. And you're in the great business because there's a ton of impact you can make. You can make a ton of money in the industry, coaching people online. But know that over time, courses have been around for, a decade now, is the completion rate has been going down, 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 down. And really what is it's not only about selling the course or the program, it's really about having your course or program material help someone move from where they are to where they want to be and have the transformation, not more information, right? So as coaches and as, service providers, we actually want people to finish the course, right? Because that's how they're going to get the result, the outcome, all right? And there is so much juice and goodness from our programs and courses. Now, what has happened over the years is it really has decreased below 50%. As low as 3% in some course industries of completion rates. So it's pretty dismal. Now, courses completion rates are probably lower than program. And program is a course, it's usually a hybrid, a course plus live coaching, some connection with the person who created the course, to guide you along, either twice a month with coaching calls or once a week with coaching calls, or, you have access to the person. So that makes the completion rate higher than just your general course. Now think about it yourself. How many courses do you have on your computer in a file? And I think I just froze a little bit. And you haven't opened, or you opened them, and what happened is you got to a particular point and got stuck, right? Or so that's one reason. The material is too advanced for you, or you're all for, a challenge, but you're so stuck that you need direction or clarification where you're at. And of course, unless you're in a program where you have access to a coach, it's not going to help you move forward. So that could be one reason why there's a decline in completion rates. Okay. Another reason why, and I've got 9 reasons here, so let's go through them and I'm going to check them off as I go, is that the material in the course or the program is outdated. Okay. It doesn't work anymore. Okay. So for instance, in the coaching business, how to generate leads online and how to do lead generation and build your audience. Some of the old methods from just, 2 years ago no longer apply today. Okay. They just don't work. Nobody's responding. So you really need to have your program be competitive, be current with what is working now. So you want to be sure that you review your course material, your program material, your membership material, and make sure that what you are teaching is current, okay? That is relevant and that works. So all about outdated material. Let's say your presentation of your material in a course or program is like putting people to sleep. there's no pizzazz with it. It's dull. It's boring. It's like la-di-da. You read through it and there's nothing to keep people on track, especially with courses. That's why I like the hybrid approach. I definitely love programs where you have access to a coach. And I prefer live rather than email. I can't stand a chat where you're chatting back and forth and you just try to get your point across. You can't get it across. And it's so much easier when you're live with someone and you actually have an opportunity to talk to them and go through, you're stuck here. How do you move forward? But if your delivery of the content isn't, has some pizzazz to it, people get bored of the same old thing, which leads me into, if you are not celebrating the mini wins along the way, people are not going to stay around. Okay. And so obviously when we create our sales page or our pitch, our students, we definitely spend time looking at and mapping out what are the mini wins along the way that someone will achieve over 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, a year of your program. What are the milestones that are going to happen? Because a lot of these programs, they don't want to wait for 3 months to have a win. They don't want to have to wait 6 months to have a win. What are the wins that you can celebrate along the way? And that's what you definitely want to be doing in your program or course, is celebrating an accomplishment. Geez, you just finished this module. This is extraordinary. Okay, there's a win. And you can celebrate by, sharing the person's accomplishment with a group. You can send gifts. You can do points and round up the points at the end of the program and provide gifts or souvenirs or t-shirts or planners or all kinds of things where you can award people for moving forward along the way. But I think just, mostly people want to be recognized that, wow, you just went through a major challenge. You just accomplished something extraordinary, pat yourself on the back. And that actually gives you the motivation to move forward, okay, to take the next challenge, okay, because generally a transformation is a series of changes that have to be applied or implemented to see the shift from where they were to where they want to be, okay. So we did a dull, boring delivery, this one. I'm kind of like staying with the structure of the program or the course. It's not in sequence, okay? That someone is jumping all over the place, going through your program or course or through your modules or or lessons or however you have it set up, and it's not in proper sequence of a process flow. That will make anyone crazy. So you want to make sure that your program or course follows a logical process. What is the logical process? And a lot of times you can smooth that out when you do your beta program, which is your testing program with people, so you can see what order things need to go in. All right. And don't be, I'm still rearranging my programs, saying, oh, this is better up front. This is better in the back. Once they have this under their belt, you're constantly making improvements to your course and program, or at least you want to. So people stay engaged and saying, wow, this program is really fantastic, moves you right through. Okay. We talked about the content being overwhelming. We've already talked about that. You want to make your content in bite-sized pieces, either through modules or actually in the program or the course, taking, a bird's eye view of, this is what we're going to accomplish over this many weeks, this many months. This is what we're going to accomplish. If you try to accomplish everything underneath the sun and the kitchen sink, you're going to lose people. People just do not have the bandwidth to follow that kind of a process over a long period of time. It's better to take, if you have a huge program, chunk it down into sections, okay? So perhaps, you do part of it as a smaller program. And once they accomplish that, they can elevate or graduate into the next level of program. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to chunk it down by modules. Okay, so in this module, all you're going to do is XYZ. That's what we're going to spend time on. I don't want you going into all the other modules. And there are some software products where you can block people out. They're not allowed to move forward until they actually are completed a module in the learning, okay? So you want to keep their focus on where you want them to be, okay? Otherwise, it's overwhelming, the big Megillah, all right? So that is another reason why people drop out. Let's see. The other one is, just human nature. They're not seeing immediate results, maybe, and all of a sudden they're looking elsewhere, and there's a little shiny object over here that claims I can get you there faster, easier, with speed, and you think, well, this program doesn't work for me, I'm jumping. Okay, you've got to hold the attention of the group. You've got to hold the attention of the people in the course. And a lot of times in the software products where you build your programs and service, you can see when somebody jumps into a module, what lesson are they on? How much time do they spend there? Are they showing up for your coaching calls? If they're not showing up for their coaching calls, you want to reach out to them through email, text, Facebook Messenger, a variety of ways, whatever way you are communicating with your students and clients, and find out what happened. Was it something personal that has happened in their life so they're not participating anymore? Or are they actually stuck on moving forward? Are they in a challenge? Are they struggling with the material? Or are they finding the material boring and not at the level of where they're at? You want to check in with your students and clients and make sure how can you help them proceed to move from where they are to where they want to be. Okay, so that's another one. Let's see. We talked about celebrations, and then the last one is that there is no outcome or promise that you make in the beginning that you reiterate throughout the program or the course. So your program should have, just like how you have a declaration statement about who you help, you want to have a statement about your program. What is the purpose of your program? What is the promise of the program? What is the ultimate outcome that someone can achieve from your program, right? And when you sell it, you have that outcome outlined. You say it, and when you deliver your sales pitch, when you write your emails and you're promoting this program or course, you say it. But throughout the course of the course or the program, you want to reiterate the achievement that's possible, right? This is what's possible. This is what we're going for. You want to remind them of what the goal is at the end of this process, okay? So you want it, that will help keep them moving forward throughout the program, okay? And if people are not clear of what the end result is, they're going to start to drop out, okay? I just recently had this happen to me. I kind of jumped into a program, thinking I loved the trainer, the host of the program, and there was an opportunity to be in that space. but I really don't know what the outcome is. What is the promise of the program? And, over the course of the last 4 weeks, I see myself kind of not wanting to participate, not wanting to show up, not wanting to do the homework. And it's too general, and it's not what I was looking for. I don't know what I was looking for. And I even requested that they send me what the goal is of the program again, because I need to have it in front of me. It's not being reiterated throughout the last 3 months. And I mean, I've got a year in this program, so I gotta rein it in and get my money's worth and get reinvested into what's possible. But as a program or course owner, just know that don't fall short with just announcing what your outcomes are, results that are possible through your sales promotion, okay? But you want to bring that up through your coaching calls along the way. Remind people what they're going for. What are they running for, so to speak, right? What is, the heaven that they want to, moving from Hell Island to Heaven Island, or moving from, current state to future state. What is that future state? You want to remind people what is the future state that's possible moving through their program. And then you reinvigorate people, keep them aligned with the prize as they go through your program and course. Okay? So these are very important things. The other thing I just want to start with, I just want to make sure that I am talking about it, is we talked about having a promise of your program and reiterating it along the way, celebrating your mini wins, very important, reaching out to people, students, clients that are missing in action. And it may not be for them. There may something have come up, a family emergency, or they're just not interested anymore, and they, kind of shut down and just, are there, just embody, but they're not participating, and that's okay too. What else did I want to talk? What you want to be doing, of course, is if you have never done a program or a course before, you want to start with what we call a beta program, right? Or a MVP, minimal, valuable, viable product, which means is you're putting out there kind of like the bare bones of your product, your course, your program. And you're providing it to people and letting them know, I have a beta program. You still want to charge for it, because if people don't pay for something, don't have any skin in the game. And you're looking for testers or people to work through the kinks with you, okay? So they know when they get in that they're there to provide feedback week by week as you move them through the program or course. Okay, so you want that feedback in real time so that you can make adjustments to your program or course as you move forward. Okay, so it's really fantastic. You also can see people's, for the first time, you see people's transformations, you see the mini wins, so that you can actually market those mini wins. You can market it. You'll have the language to promote your program or course more effectively, because you're actually in there with your students, with your clients, as they're moving through your program or course for the first time. And then you also are getting testimonials as they move through the program as well, which you can use to promote it later on. Key is absolutely key. I remember the first time I did a program, it was way too short. This is, from my beta program. It was way too short. It was 8 weeks. It turned out to be a 6-month program to get the result I wanted, to really solidify the result in all the people that participate. It needed 6 months, okay, instead of 8 weeks. And they were agreeable to move through the program to 6 months. It was at the same price point, obviously. And then I also saw that there were some things that were, they already knew. So why waste time on that? So take them out and there were things where they were struggling with, and I needed to add to the program. Okay, I needed to add content. I needed to add learning. I needed to spend more time in a particular area, less time in other areas. And that's what you get from doing an MVP. Okay, so don't, and oh, the other thing I want to say is what's great about it, you can have a rough outline, a draft of where you want to bring people through, like what each week is going to be like as you move people through. But as you're working with them week to week to week, you will be able to tweak it. And so it's not solidified yet. Okay, so you are actually adding to the program, taking away from the program as you move through the beta program. Okay, so that was like so worth it to do that. And I highly recommend each new program, you price it a little lower than what it will be full, once it's up and running. You get people in there helping you to design it and craft it so it's the best possible experience for someone who is actually going through the program. Okay, so that's what it's all about. If you're on here, say hi. Love to see who's here. A bunch of you have will be tagged because you said you're interested in the material. I'll tag you and then just say, hi, I'm here. I'm watching the replay. That'll be great, so I can see who's on here. And let me know if you have any questions. You can either private message me or comment below as usual. Okay, you guys, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.